Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
As we welcome you to the PXG Custom Studios, you have never played like this before, and I suspect if you haven't been to BOYNE Golf, you have never been to a place like this before. 11 golf courses amongst the resorts here, absolutely gorgeous, and that's the kind of day that we have as well as we welcome you into the Fairways of Life show. Delighted to have you here. I got shorts on because we're going to play golf here later on this afternoon, but it's cool this morning. Temperatures in the low 50s. Ken Griffin, who's the VP guy here at BOYNE, put the fire on behind us. It's an absolute perfect setting because in today's show, we're going to pick up on what's happening right now with the Ryder Cup. The two teams are 100% complete. There you can see it on each side, respectively. Team USA, Scotty Scheffler, J.J. Spaun, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Cam Young, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns. Team Europe is complete with the 6 captains' picks from Luke Donald this week. We start with Rory McIlroy, Bob McIntyre, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Rasmus Højgaard, Tyrrell Hatton, and then those picks mentioned: Shane Lowry, Jon Rahm, Sepp Straka, Viktor Hovland, Ludvig Åberg, Matt Fitzpatrick. We will be going through those in detail. On today's show, we are going to be bringing on 2 experts, respectively, from each side. One who has played alongside of the greats of the European side, including representing GB&I himself. And on the other side, the U.S. side, if you please, one who has been a part of the coaching staff for the Ryder Cup, including being a vice captain for a successful American Ryder Cup team. All right, from there, let's take a look at who Luke Donald has picked. Let's go through the players for his 6 picks respectively. We have the graphics built for each, and I'm going to, if you're with us on the radio side, I'm going to read them out. First of all, Ireland, Shane Lowry. In 2025, 0 wins to his credit, 4 top 10s though. The statistical categories that we reference here are the top 2 for each player respectively. 4th, strokes gain approach. 13th, in proximity, his last 5 events you can see demonstrated there. The 2 on the far right, look good limited field events. Experience, of course, he won the 2019 Open at Royal Portrush. He's won 3 times on the PGA Tour, 6 times on the European side. He's represented 2 European Ryder Cup teams. Jon Rahm from Spain. In 2025, no wins, but he had 4 runner-up finishes. He only finished outside of the top 11. Very few times he's playing on LIV. 12 top 10s there you can see demonstrated. First in greens and regulation, first in birdies. His last 5 events, as reference to what I was just saying, very impressive indeed. His experience, of course, he's a multiple-time major champion. He won 11 times on the PGA Tour. He won 12 times on the European side. 3 Ryder Cups to his credit. Sepp Straka from Austria. In 2025, he had 2 wins. They came early in season, kind of middle to season to late, kind of went off the boil. 6 top 10s. 8th in strokes gain approach. 8th in strokes gain total. His last 5, you can see demonstrated there. Again, the latter 2 that looked like good finishes. The last one was a 30-player field. His experience, 4 times he's won on the PGA Tour, and this will represent the 2nd European Ryder Cup team that he is on. Viktor Hovland of Norway. He has a win this year on the PGA Tour. 3 top 10s, 2nd in strokes gain approach, 8th in proximity. His last 5 starts, a little bit of a mixed bag, but overall pretty solid. 7 PGA Tour wins to his credit, 2 times on the Euro side of the DP World Tour, and 2 Ryder Cups previously. From there, Ludvig Åberg of Sweden, a winner this year, big win too, 6 top 10s, 10th in strokes gain off the tee, 13th in strokes total driving, I should say. Last 5 starts, most impressive indeed. He's won a couple times for a young guy on the PGA Tour. He's won in Europe. He has represented the Ryder Cup, European Ryder Cup side before in Marco Simone. Matt Fitzpatrick of England, 5 top 10s this year, 26th in strokes gained putting, 33rd in strokes gained total. His last 5 events, you can see demonstrated there, kind of got hot at the end of the season, and it helped him. Luke Donald talked about it this week, saying his statistical array at the end of the season was as strong as anybody. He is a major champion, winning the U.S. Open at Brookline. He's won both on the PGA Tour, many times on the European side, 3 Ryder Cup representations to his credit, although his record is not good, 1-7 in the wins-loss column alone, which we'll talk about that coming up just a little bit more. So, more of the, if you please, nuts and bolts of what we're talking about as you're looking at video right now of beautiful Bethpage Black. It is an absolute treasure. This is a team comparison, which I want to get into with you in just a moment. I'm going to bring Dom on about that, but just a little bit more about Bethpage Black as we are continuing here. Bethpage Black, of course, was designed by the absolute legend A.W. Tillinghast. This is, like I said, it's a national treasure. This is a municipal golf course, believe it or not. Joe Burbeck was his assistant in 1936 when he did it. Reese Jones redesigned, touched it up in 2015. Notable events that Bethpage has hosted. In 2002, the U.S. Open, which was won by Tiger Woods. In 2009, the U.S. Open won by Lucas Glover. In 2012, the Barclays. In 2016, the Barclays, Nick Watney and Patrick Reed, respectively. In 2019, the PGA Championship with Brooks Koepka. Okay, that graphic that we put up there with the team comparison, I want to show that to you in some depth now, and I'm going to bring Dom on for this because, Dom, when we were putting together our desires here, the broad brush desire was that Team USA comes in and everybody says, well, Team USA is favored. Generally, the argument is based upon world rankings, but I'd like to ask you to go through this data golf information that we put together, and I'm going to read it for you folks in detail, especially for those of you that may not be with us on the television side and can't see the graphic, because it's absolutely fascinating information, Dom.
Yeah, we put together something a little different with this team comparison, Matt. Obviously, you see the number of wins there that respective teams have this year. There is a huge disparity between experience with the U.S. team and the European team. You can see there's 4 rookies, and you can see that Ryder Cup record that Matt will go over here in a little bit. But what I wanted to do was set the scene for those stats. This stuff is coming from our friends at Data Golf, Matt. And what we did was we put together the average true strokes gained in particular categories for both teams, taking into account all the players on the team. So you're looking at the true strokes gained putting number, the around the green number, the approach numbers, and the off the tee numbers for both teams respectively. And there's a lot to unpack here, and I'm really looking forward to digging in and hearing what the guys have to say and you as we start to unpack some of this stuff here.
Yeah, we'd like to hear from you guys too. If you log on to the Fairways of Life YouTube page, post your questions there, and we'll try to get to whoever we can today. In terms of this graphic, number of 2020, remember these are cumulative for all members of each team respectively. Number of 2025 wins for Team USA, 13, including 3 majors. Rookies, Dom mentioned it, there are 4, and Spawn, Henley, Griffin, and Young. Combined Ryder Cup record, 26, 22, and 8. That is in contrast to the combined Ryder Cup record on the European side of 59, 50, and 19. That's where Dom was talking about the experience. When you go up this chart on the European side, 2025 wins. Remember, it was 13 for the USA and 3 majors. It's 10 on the European side with 1 major. 4 rookies for Team USA. Dom mentioned it already, only 1 on the European side. Luke Donald said this week that in a way, Ryder Cup, that experience is really important. As to that combined Ryder Cup record on the European side, 59, 50, and 19, 61%, point percentage 46%, win rate, the win rate is the exact same, and point percentage only 1 different between the 2 teams respectively. As we get into these critical stat areas, it's absolutely fascinating to me. First of all, true strokes gained putting. Team USA is plus 0.4. Team Europe is plus 0.3. I'm rounding up. True strokes gained around the greens. Team USA plus 1.6. Europe plus 1.6. Isn't this incredible? True strokes gained approach. Team USA plus 0.64 true strokes gained approach. Team Europe plus 0.57. Statistically, that small a difference is tiny. It's like maybe a quarter or third of a stroke. True strokes gained off the tee, Team USA is plus 0.46. Team Europe, again, statistically plus 0.37. It is that close. So to break all these questions down, as I mentioned, we have a couple of experts coming up and joining us just in a couple of minutes. Again, we're live here today from BOYNE Golf. So excited to be here. As I mentioned to you, it's cool in the morning, but this afternoon it's supposed to be gorgeous before that cold front sweeps in and across the Northeast, bringing some pretty heavy rain and storms for those of you in those regions. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on what's going on here, because we're going to talk more about the Ryder Cup and get into it in depth. Very much looking forward to that. If you guys get a chance, check out NewtonGolfCo.com and see why Newton golf shafts are changing the game. It may not be that you need a new driver. It may just be that you need a new golf shaft. Their elongated bend profile allows you to feel the club loading on your downswing. And I have a feeling for some people, it may be a feeling they've never had before. That latent energy will smash into the golf ball. It's a reason why Newton Golf is making so much noise in the game right now, from the very best in the world, long drive champions amongst them, to everyday golfers. NewtonGolfCo.com for more. We'll be back with more. We're talking Ryder Cup with experts after this.
It takes focus, calculated aggression, and a precise mindset for shots like these.
Hey,
When the
Olin, can
pressure
you hear Dominic?
builds, only the sharpest ball strikers survive. And Kurt Kitayama activated Weekend Warrior mode with a course record Saturday and a flurry of birdies Sunday. Congratulations, Kurt, winner of the 3M Open with the Tour BX mindset. Bridgestone Golf, the #1 ball fitter in golf.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at FlightScope.com.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me? We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing. But we have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Middle market businesses are facing unprecedented shifts, which demand tailored solutions and decisive action. RSM stands as the unwavering leader of the middle market, empowering you to take charge of change and conquer this era of transformation. RSM. Experience the power of being understood.
Bethpage Black will be the site. That's the canvas upon which we will paint, I guess, all the drama that's going to be the Ryder Cup coming up. We're talking about now we're starting to count the days until the competition gets underway. At this, like I already told you last segment, my opinion is I think it's an absolute national treasure. And we are so fortunate to have a facility like this that can host events of the stature that it already has, not to mention the Ryder Cup. It's just one of these, I don't know, perfect venues for such. Now, I promised you that we're going to have experts on to break down the Ryder Cup teams because for the first time, at least in this forum, the two teams are complete. We know now who the 6 captain picks are from Luke Donald. Of course, we already knew from the U.S. side, and there you can see on your screen the two sides as such. I want to break all this down. I want to get into all these details, get into all these questions. We're going to try to take a few questions from you guys as well on our Fairways of Life YouTube page. So go ahead and send them in. Dom will feed them to me when we can. Olin Browne is joining us today. He's won 9 times amongst the professional ranks, 3 times on the PGA Tour, another 2 times on the PGA Tour Champions. 890, you heard me right, tour starts collectively, and 102 of those times he had career top 10s. Pretty good percentage. He was also part of the coaching staff in 2008, the victorious United States Ryder Cup team under the helm of Captain Paul Azinger. On the European side, joined by one of my best friends in the world, Raymond Burns is joining us. Raymond, DP World Tour analyst. He does radio, he does television. I broadcast with him all over the globe. He also will be a part of the Sirius XM broadcast live coverage of the Ryder Cup coming up. He's won 2 times amongst the professional ranks, 120 starts on the European Tour. He's the director of golf at Malahide, which is outside of Dublin, Ireland. He was a member of the 1993 Walker Cup team for GB&I, and all those Walker Cup teams always have great players on them that go on to prominence. One of his teammates was a 3-time major champion in Padraig Harrington. So, Ramey, if you can, let's start with you in Dublin this morning. First of all, welcome to the program. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for your time. Your reaction to the 6 captains picks overall, if I may, from Luke Donald.
Hey, I think I felt bad for Matt Wallace, but I understood the reasons why he went for Matt Fitzpatrick or John Rahm. Probably John Rahm was already a shoe-in. I think he went for experience. I think the fact that you have 11 of these players that won in Italy, and he's bringing 11 of them over to the United States with the experience that they have, I think was quite there was the way the players played all year, I suppose. But I think it's an advantage, the fact that they're leaving with that feeling of winning in Italy and going to Bethpage in a few weeks' time. I think he's been smart about his picks. Luke Donald, as we all know, is an extremely, he's a very, very smart thinker. He knows what he's doing. He wouldn't have been my Ryder Cup captain, 3-4 years ago when he was chosen. He sort of fell into it by some of the live players moving on in that regard. But I like the team. A few months ago, I thought the Americans were, in that regard, the American team was extremely strong. But when I look at both teams and I look at the stats that Dominic and yourself has shown, I mean, it looks very like 14-14. That would be a good result for the European side. But the experience that we're having on the European side and the way that, Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, that type of players have been playing in the FedEx coming down the season. Shane Lowry, obviously hanging in there, Steph Straka, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Oberg. It's a very strong European team. I've been going to Ryder Cup since 1989, and sometimes the European side have had to rely on maybe 6 or 7 or 8 players, and we've always been bringing, and no disregard against any of the players, but we've always been bringing sort of, maybe non-American PGA Tour players that hadn't played there with us to the United States. But this time around, I think Europe are bringing a really, really strong team to a really, really strong venue to play against a phenomenal team. And my feelings about the captain, Keegan Bradley. He's been one of my favourite golfers and favourite people over the last 15, 20 years. I just love the way the guy's passion, etc. And I know he will have every stone. There'll be every stone. He'll make sure that everything that he has got for his team and for his players and for his captains, and it'll be phenomenal. So it's looking good. It wasn't looking that way in my eyes a few months ago, but 3 weeks before I fly to the Big Apple, looking so forward to Bethpage, looking so forward to New York, the golf course, the atmosphere. We always think that Paris was brilliant. We think Medina was brilliant. We thought Italy was brilliant. We didn't get a chance, unfortunately, with Whistling Straits. We couldn't travel, but this Ryder Cup is looking at, it could be one of the best, the greatest, go to one of the greatest venues in the world of golf. Like, I've never been to Bethpage. I can't wait to set foot. It's like touching a Monet. You're like going to Rome, the Rome of golf, the sort of the Colosseum, and I can't wait to get there. And truthfully, I'm partisan to Europe, but if I see good golf and I see golf played in the correct fashion and the way it was played in Italy, I know the New York crowds and all, you hear all these stories, etc. But that's golf, that's passion, and I want to see passion. And if you want to be the best, beat the best, you have to play against the best. And I just think we're in for probably one of the world's greatest sporting occasions ever in history of sport, including golf, obviously.
Well, there you go. Raymond has set the table for us, and you give me about a million different directions to go with you. But first, I'm going to bring in Olin and say good day to him. And Olin, we now know on both sides who the 12 men will be that will go into Bethpage Black. With a broad brush, if I may start with you, your impressions of the two teams respectively.
Well, good morning, guys. It's great to be with you this morning. There's a lot to absorb here, isn't there? And I think Raymond points out so well that, the team building process takes on different iterations. And, you could feel one way about the team at one point and another way entirely about the team as it settles. The captains have both extraordinary picks. The game, truthfully, is really hard to break down in this day and age because it's not Europe versus the U.S. It's global golf. And all of these guys have been exposed to the world stage for the last however long it is. And there aren't going to be any shrinking violets. There are a lot of big game hunters coming out, Bethpage, and it's a game hunter's paradise. It's an incredible golf course. I think weather is going to play a vital role in what happens there and captain's decisions. Of course, if the course is cooked, running is going to play. And if it gets damp, it can get cold in a hurry. It's going to play another entirely. So there's going to be a lot of variety. But both teams are exceedingly strong. We've got essentially the very, very best golfers in the world playing one against the other and in a 12-man team format. And I think it's going to truly excite.
All right, so as we continue here on the Fairways of Life, folks, I want to start to break down some of the things that both of these men just mentioned to us. First of all, to some of the comments that Raymond meant, the primary one that stood out to me was when he mentioned the New York crowds, because I want to get a perspective from the European side, what they're thinking about the galleries at New York and how passionate they're going to be and how involved they're going to be. Luke Donald keeps talking about preparing the team for that. How do you prepare the team for the New York crowd? I want to go down that road. And on the United States side, where I want to pick up with Olin when we come back, is the question of Luke Donald is on the European side. His team's complete. On the American side, we had Keegan Bradley. And when Keegan Bradley was named the captain of the U.S. Ryder Cup team, we were led to believe that he was an agent of change, that his captaincy and his age and maybe being a playing captain, maybe not, and all these factors that we've been dealing with and hearing about for months and months and months since his appointment were a sign that the U.S. Ryder Cup team was going in a different direction. When we look at the team that is complete now and those that he picked, it didn't look so much like he went in a different direction. He kind of went in the direction, if I may, of the tried and true. I can't wait to get Olin's reaction to that as well as yours. We're going to get to some of your questions when we come back as the Fairways of Life show continues. We're live from BOYNE Golf. Log on to BOYNEGolf.com and you can see exactly where we are. Back with more after this.
This is golf.
A shot, honey.
And this is Golf's Superstore.
Oh, yeah, we'll take it.
Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
We know there's more in you. More distance, more accuracy, more consistency. That's why we created the PXG Black Ops driver to unleash your potential. Packed with innovative technology and unmatched adjustability, PXG Black Ops drivers are custom fitted for your swing and engineered to maximize your performance. To play your best, play the best. PXG Black Ops drivers. Book your fitting at pxg.com or a PXG location near you. PXG, you've never played like this before.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
4! This is golf, and this is Golf Superstore, the only place you can walk in for a free driver fitting, have it built, and tee it up the same day. Try Fit and Go today.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, we're talking in depth about the completed respective Ryder Cup teams, Team USA and Team Europe. Olin Browne was a vice captain of the 2008 successful United States Ryder Cup team. Olin, I'm going to hit you with the question. You heard me talking about it earlier in the show. 3-8 since 2002 for Team USA. 3-8. Why?
How on the show to go over that? I mean, I think first of all, we all have visceral reactions to outcomes. So if something doesn't go on it, we want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, start all over again. I'm a fan of the force concept. Task force to me is like a kind of like an all-encompassing term that means that you're looking for ideas, but you don't have direction. I think the best kind of captaincy is what establishes parameters and an seeks to fulfill that. I think that's what great captains do. It's what great coaches do. Yeah, Bill Belichick, notwithstanding what happened to him last night, you know, how to go about assembling a team, and it's not always how the rest of us perceive it, right? And I think that we get, especially when there's something new on the horizon, for example, stats, analytics, and all that stuff. I think that has a place, but they're all related to one another, you know. And as the saying goes, there are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. I think there is so important, and it's a great captain establishes a pro, brings in people who can help him with that vision or her, and then assigns players to certain roles. And the human element, I think, has so much more value. For example, I Keegan Bradley is a very emotional guy. I mean, in a positive way, he exudes positivity. He's going to rely a lot on team leadership to help him organize his team, his vice captains, and so forth, in a way that puts everybody at ease and in a place where they feel confident to go out and excel. And so I think that we get mired in trying to figure out every little nook and cranny of every single situation, when really, in fact, you got to have vision and you got to have a plan and you got to be able to implement your plan. And I think that's what great coaching, great captaincies bring to team dynamics.
So, Raymond, when you hear Olin talk about a vision, a plan, and of course the execution of that respective plan, do you agree with him that we could talk about stats all we want to? We could talk about, the U.S. team coming in as they have with better world rankings, etc., but all of that kind of goes out the window when the competition actually starts. How do you feel that the European team is able to amass the record that they have, 8-3 since 2002, despite all of the other trappings that sit on the periphery?
I think it adds to a lot of things that Olin says in regards to maybe the structure of the European side and the strategy that they've been accustomed to over, say, since 2002. They've developed that sort of team bond. The captains have understood each of the individual players, and the players themselves have been able to change positions very quickly at any time. You haven't really been dealing with, when I say superstars, I don't mean to put any USA players down in any way or any form of past tournaments, but it's very hard to drop certain number one players or number two players off a team. But I think Paul McGillen in the Glen Eagles, he had a certain role that Graham McDowell played, with the French golfer. I just can't think of his name right now. It's very hard to accept that if you're a top player. And I think the European team have been more involved from a team perspective as an individual, perspective over the last 10, 20 years, 23 years. And I think that showed a lot. And another thing I'd say as well, here in Europe, we play a huge amount of, country golf, European team championships, Irish team championships, England, Wales, all around the whole of Europe. And we're very accustomed to foursomes golf from a very young age. We're very accustomed to four ball. Obviously singles wouldn't be our strongest point, although we've done really well as a European team in singles in the last few years. But I think if you add all those things together, we've been playing golf. These teams have been playing golf together as a sort of since they were 12, 13, 15 years old. They're very used to one another. And I think the captains have definitely went out and seeked information for, whether it's soccer, managers, Alex Ferguson, I know, helped Paul McGinley. I know certain Luke Donald has went to certain football managers, and asked, how do I get the team performance? And I think Europe have been very good at getting the overall team. Like Europe, 25 years ago, we really played 8 players all the time. But now we can rest players, we can throw players aside. I'm sure Shane Larry would love to play 5 games, but Shane probably knows he's only going to play 3 games. Rory McIlroy might play 5 games. John Ram might play 5 games. So everybody sort of understands their role. The captain sort of gives out that from the very, probably 6 months ago, he set a stall. They know exactly where they're going, what they're doing. And there's very little, Matt, as you know yourself. You go to many of these championships, and it's down to putting, it's down to a roll of a dice, a roll of a ball. It's very close call, but it does seem to me that over the last while, the task force thing, of course, that's something I thought that was nuts, to be honest. You have the 12 greatest players in the world going to play golf, and you need a task force. Like, I mean, Tiger Woods needing a task force, or Phil, you just go and play your golf, and you play with your friend, and you go out and you try and have the best score you have. And I think that's a very, and I think Keegan Bradley will know that, and the way he spoke at his press conference when he picked out his players, I saw a really experienced CEO, the way he spoke about his players, the passion he had when he named his players. And I thought it was like, judging from a sort of a perspective of psychology, he knew exactly what he was doing. He seemed to be in true, everything that he said he meant. And that's a massive start, in my opinion. He's already shown, that he's a gladiator in that stage when he speaks like that. And maybe this is the change that USA needed. You'll know in a few weeks' time, but I do think Europe definitely holds the candle in regards to team motivation and team strategy, team structure.
So, Olin, when let's picking up on what Raymond was just talking about with the announcements made by Keegan Bradley. You already made your initial comments about the strength of his team, but did it surprise you in any way? Was this exactly what you expected of Keegan Bradley? Or did you expect it to be more, for lack of a better phrase, more of an agent of change?
Well, I mean, I think there's a limitation to this agent of change. I mean, the team is, I would suggest, keep looking at the next 14 or after the initial group had qualified in order to make his picks. And so, the idea of who's going to be on the team is fairly well defined. And what you're trying to find is compatibility there, right? I thought that could have been a case made for Lucas Glover, since he won the Open at Bethpage. And he's pretty consistent golf. He's a beautiful ball striker and so forth. But, Keegan's picks didn't surprise me one bit. And I know that we're going to touch on whether or not he should have been a pick himself. And I'll save that for when you want to broach that subject. But I thought that he went fairly chalk. He got 2 rookies on the team. He picked 2 rookies. Zinger, when in 2008, picked 6 rookies on the team. I think this experience thing, there's an old adage about experience being something when you don't get what you want. It doesn't always work out in your favor to have guys who have been, selected for teams over the years. It's emotionally, physically draining to some of representing your country. Honor you can possibly have, do it every single year, President Ryder Cup. I think it can be exhausting. So sometimes, fresh players can bring perspective and different levels of enthusiasm and a whole bunch of different characteristics to the team that make the team more productive. Coach Belichick famously got rid of players when he was in New England a year before they were ready to go than a year later. And so there was this constant evolution of fresh mindsets and fresh enthusiasm and fresh physical play that came into his teams, and it kept things very, very competitive. And I think both coaches, both captains understand this clearly. They're not afraid to have younger guys or newer guys on their squads.
All right, you can hear Olin's signal to us is breaking up just a little bit, but the content is too good to not continue down this road. You talked about Keegan picking himself, whether he should have or shouldn't have, and said, when we're ready to discuss it, let's go, let's discuss it. Did you want to see Keegan Bradley on that team as a playing captain?
That's only a decision the captain makes. I know that it's kind of fairly split because he's played so beautifully, and there are a lot of people who feel that he was passed over last time. The captain's job, the last playing captain for the U.S. side, I believe, Arnold Palmer. And the world has changed since then. There's more to it. There's much press. I mean, those days, the teams little lopsided. And so there's a whole lot that needed.
Olin, I'm going to jump in just because it's breaking up to a point that we're losing you here. Raymond, let me jump back to you if I can, because we're losing Olin there and losing what he was trying to express to us. We'll get back if he can get his signal a little bit stronger wherever he's set up. Looks like maybe a hotel room or something. Ramey, on the European side, Rory came out and said that Keegan shouldn't do it, that it's too much, etc. But there was this sense that from the European side, they really wanted Keegan Bradley to do it. They wanted him to try to take on both roles. Maybe they thought of it as some kind of a distraction. I'm not sure what the motivation was. So I ask you, what was the motivation? Why was Europe so eager that Keegan Bradley should do something that would be in the modern edition of the Ryder Cup historic?
I think it was a difficult decision for Keegan Bradley to make. He probably thought, I was given this opportunity to be captain of, a Ryder Cup team. I'm playing so well. Personally, I would have picked myself. I would have said, I didn't get the chance last time. I'm picking myself this time. I think he's playing well enough to be on the team. He would definitely make the European team. That's for certain. And I think the Europeans were actually quite happy that he didn't pick himself. But at the same time, if he had picked himself, I think Keegan probably played this one the last couple of months, because the whole story, as we all know, in Port Roche and before that, the US Open was all about is Keegan Bradley going to pick himself? So he sort of the reflection was taken off him in that regard about the actual Ryder Cup itself. So it probably suited him, all the talking about who he's going to pick or what he's going to pick. So I was surprised he didn't pick himself. I honestly thought, if it was a betting man, I definitely thought he was going to pick himself. But back to where I think Olin was trying to say about Arnold Palmer, I think in 1963, when he played as a Ryder Cup captain. The world has changed since then. There's so many things involved in being a Ryder Cup captain. I know from Padraig Harrington's experience, because Padraig had to wait another year to the Ryder Cup. So he was his captaincy announcement to when he actually captained probably was a little bit too long in his mind. And I do think that when you have so many functions to go to, so many dinners to go to, so many things, that the Ryder Cup now is such a big showcase event. It'd be very difficult, I think, for Keegan to be able to do both. I know Tiger Woods did both the President's Cup at Royal Melbourne. I know Fred Couples came in for him, and they won whatever. It mightn't be a big reflection on the team, but at a Ryder Cup, I think he probably done what he thought best for the team and some of the players that were playing, and he wanted them to play in the team. It was a very close call for 11 and 12 on the USA team. So I do think that he done the right thing, but at the same time, Rory coming out with that little jibe, I do think he sort of he was sort of playing along, maybe with a little bit of mind stuff already. So we'll see how that works out in a few weeks' time.
This is the question that I've been asking right from the start. When Keegan did his press conference and said, no, we've known for some time that I wasn't going to be a playing captain, I'm thinking to myself, is he one of the great geniuses already? Because you heard Olin. Olin kept bringing up Coach Belichick, right, when he was with the Pats. And Belichick was great, by all accounts, at diminishing the so-called noise, at pushing that noise away so the players themselves could concentrate on their respective jobs individually and collectively. Is that what Keegan Bradley just did? Because if he knew that he wasn't...
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he knew he wasn't going to play, he could have said that, but instead he did this cat and mouse with the media and thus with the world of golf, where everyone was commenting if he should play or shouldn't play, and that was the whole focus of everything that was going on. And then he ended up saying at his press conference, no, I'm not playing, and I've known that I'm not playing for some time. Dom, I'm going to bring you in here real quickly before we run out of time with these guys. Just give me a question or two that you've got coming in from the folks out there, and let's see what our experts have to say respectively. And guys, you can log on to our Fairways of Life YouTube page if you'd like to try to weigh in on it or engage in the discussion board that is going crazy right now, no doubt.
There's A lot of great stuff coming in, but I'll read a couple notes here. Kevin writes, the teams have been selected. Let's just play. There are no mistakes made by either captain, only players who don't execute the captain's game plan, which is interesting, putting the onus a little bit on sort of just straight up play. One question coming in is that the claim is made that Bethpage is a ball striker's course. Burns was picked, I think, mainly Sam Burns for the U.S. team for his putting. He's literally number one in the tour in strokes gained putting right now. Is that a good fit for Bethpage to lean into getting a pick because of putting, not so much ball striking? I know, Olin Browne mentioned earlier he thought Lucas Glover might be an ideal fit, perhaps for the same reasons. What say you guys?
Well, opposite reasons in that case between Lucas Glover and Sam Burns. But in foursomes, you can look for that kind of stuff. Olin, let me go back to you just for a second here. Hopefully everything will connect. You've been talking a lot about team dynamics and roles in the captain, respectively. Let me ask you straight up, because you were a part of a winning United States Ryder Cup team, of which there's only been 3, going all the way back to 2002. What role, how significant a role does the captain play in whether or not his team wins?
Wow, loaded question, but I think the obvious answer is he does everything. And Raymond mentioned it earlier. There's a 2-year run-up to the Ryder Cup. And then what happens is that the captain sets the players and puts them on their course, and it's up to the players to deliver. But the captaincy is such an involved and comprehensive process. The tone can be set early and often. And what Paul Azinger did in 2008 was he split the team into smaller groups. It's well documented, the pod system and all that. The Europeans have been doing that, whether overtly or covertly, for a long time, naturally, because of cultures over there, countries and so forth. But he gave pod captains ownership of what was going on out there, and then relied on the styles of the players and the commitment of the players to carry the team through. And I don't think it's any different. I think that there's leadership at every level. You need somebody that can break the ice, who can throw the water balloons when they need to be thrown. You need somebody who can set the tone early on, and I just think that when you're assembling a team, you look at a team face value. It's not always the guy who's next in line in terms of having accrued points. It's the guy who you feel fits that team room. So it's so vitally important for the captain to set the tone. But once the Ryder Cup week starts, all of that other stuff gets set aside, and you're just trying to create and maintain the environment where the players can excel. It's all about the players.
Hey, Olin, it's Murphy's Law, isn't it, that we're at the end of the segment with you guys, and now your internet is working absolutely perfectly. We can hear you very clearly. All right, I want to hear you clearly on this next question. I want to throw it at you quickly. I'm going to do the same thing to Raymond as we say goodbye. What do you see as results at Bethpage? Put yourself on the line.
I think both teams are really strong, both of them world-class players. I think there's an undercurrent here that we haven't touched on, and that there are live guys who are a part of this Ryder Cup that haven't been part of it before, and I think that they have something to prove. And I think there's going to be a lot of energy. Now, the New York crowds are off the charts, and Bethpage has made the ultimate home game for us. So if our team gets off to a good start, the crowds at Bethpage going to help carry people across the finish line. Conversely, guys don't shine, they're going to hear about it as well.
All right, so you're picking Team USA, just so we have clarity on that. Let's switch over to Raymond Burns, who's joining us live from... All right, yeah, of course. Let's switch over to Raymond Burns, who's joining us live from Dublin. Raymond, who do you have for this Ryder Cup? What is going to happen? You'll be part of the SiriusXM live radio coverage of the same. What do you got?
I can see it been very close, very tight. Home advantage is massive. I'll maybe just take USA by a very, very, very small margin.
Really? Raymond Burns has also picked Team USA to win the Ryder Cup. This is going to make news in Europe when this comes out.
This could be a draw, but it's very, very tight. Two teams are very similar, but I think golf course advantage and fan advantage is we all know from past Ryder Cups over here, it's huge. I don't think you can pass the home advantage. It's huge.
This is really interesting because we had a few pints over this at Port Rush, and you gave me an opposite answer. So since that time, you've changed with the teams are complete, which is understandable.
Well, I know what I'd like to see happen. I would like to see Europe win in Bethpage, and I would like to see the USA win in a dare manner. I would like to see that.
Raymond, you continue to amaze us. Thank you very much for your time, gents. It was indeed a pleasure. Folks, when we come back on the Fairways of Life show, I want to talk a little bit about where we are right now and all the beauty that surrounds us. As I've been telling you throughout the show, you probably saw me shivering a little bit. It's cool up here in northern Michigan, but it's very easy to get here. And the highs today, ready for it? 79 degrees, absolutely beautiful. Behind me is the Donald Ross Memorial Course. Take what you feel are the best Donald Ross courses anywhere in the world and use modern laser grading and equipment to rebuild that hole on matching topography, and you have a course like we have here. It's one of 11 golf courses as part of BOYNE Golf. I'm going to talk about it right after these words.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
What does it take to be an original?
Cam knows something about that. So does Chi-Chi, Charlie, and you get it. In 1955, we stepped onto the scene. Now a new generation of pros are wearing the most iconic styles in the game. The fit, the feel, the look. It's all an expression of you. Original Penguin. Here for the good times.
Golfers today are a different breed.
Who? Me? We see the game in a different way.
We all have our own styles.
We swing our own swing. But we have one thing in common.
We are all about the details.
Introducing the Revel line of grips from Superstroke. With 3 distinct offerings to choose from, the Revel is in the details.
PXG is proud of our nation's heroes, like past and present military, law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, nurses, and teachers. And it's no secret we give special pricing to all of our hero customers. It's also no secret that times are tough. And in our book, that makes everybody a hero. So now through August 31st, everybody qualifies for special heroes pricing on select clubs. Visit PXG.com now to learn more. PXG, you've never played like this before.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
As we welcome you back, our host site this week is BOYNE Golf up here in northern Michigan. It's absolutely gorgeous and has been for the last few days. Very much looking forward to getting back out onto the golf course. Josh Richter is the Senior Vice President of Golf Operations for BOYNE, and that's not just here. That's for all of their operations around the country. I was hoping to talk to you for a little bit longer, but we went so deep on the Ryder Cup today, so we'll do a little sprint here to finish the show. And then tomorrow we'll dedicate a whole show to BOYNE Golf for Fairways Life. Again, you can find us on the YouTube side, the digital side with that show indeed. First of all, who you got for the Ryder Cup, since I'm talking about it?
Well, Team USA,
I figured you,
I mean,
yeah.
Come on.
Have you played Bethpage Black yet?
I have not played there, but looking forward to it at some point,
Amazing.
for sure.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, for the world,
yes.
Who is BOYNE Golf?
So BOYNE Golf is 11 golf courses up here in northern Michigan, spread out over 3 resorts. And we think we have quite the attractions here with the golf courses and the variety of golf courses, the length of our days up here in northern Michigan, being on the western side of the Eastern time zone. And it's a heck of a place to set up shop and have a good time, as you know very well.
Yeah, I do know very well, because I love to come up here. We bring groups up here, and it's kind of 2 things. One, the variety of golf here is massive. I mean, you won't find 2 holes that look the same. You won't find 2 golf courses that look the same. But what is the same is the quality of the golf courses, the speed of the greens. Is that a fair assessment?
That is a fair assessment. You know, we know that when you come here and visit BOYNE Golf and play across our courses, that you don't want to have to get on every golf course and say, oh, you know, what's the speed going to be like here? So we established a set of standards and best practices that keep those golf courses extremely consistent. You know, whether you're behind us on the Ross, as we talked about a little earlier, or, you know, you're on the Hills or Bay Harbor Golf Club or the Alpine or the Monument at Boyne Mountain. So
that's great.
Very consistent, and it's a great place to be. It really
awesome.
is.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting more time to actually talk with you tomorrow in depth. But thank you for hosting us, and thank you for being with us here this morning for a couple of minutes. Thank you to all of you guys for joining us. Thank to Raymond too. Thank you to Olin for being with us on the show. I love the fact that we're talking so intensely about the Ryder Cup, because it's right around the corner. Bye for now.